Hey everybody, welcome back. Erica here with another one. First and foremost, to anyone who is new to the channel that are seeing my videos for the first time, if you like what you see, if you want to learn more, if you feel that this is helpful to you in any way, shape, or form, please be sure to subscribe. I do update my content every other day. I used to do it every day, but because of the length of the videos, I kind of have to do it every other day. But my content is always up to date, always fresh, and I always take requests. So if you have a request for a video that you would want me to elaborate on, please be sure to leave a comment in the comment section, and I will be more than glad to make that video for you. So welcome back, welcome all, and we're going to get into this video. In this video, we're going to talk about why the narcissist has to hurt you. Now, if you notice in all my content, I focus on different aspects of different people's lives, whether it's romance, whether it's family, whether it's work, whether it's friends. In this video, I'm going to primarily focus on romance. Okay, I will make a separate video in regards to family, and I'll put family and friends and maybe colleagues all in one video. But in this one, I want to primarily focus on romance. I know that a lot of people really have a hard time dealing with narcissistic abuse, especially when it comes to romantic relationships, because the type of bond that you have in a romantic relationship differs from the kind of bond you have in a familial relationship, which in turn is your relatives. So we're going to talk about why the narcissist has to hurt you. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why the narcissist has to hurt me? The narcissist doesn't have to hurt me. That's a logical statement. But here's the thing. You notice in all my videos, I do make it abundantly clear, okay, that though we feel the way we do about narcissists, people who suffer from narcissistic personality disorder, we have our feelings on them. But I always make it clear that they are people too, okay? They suffered psychological trauma throughout their childhood, into their teen years, up until their adulthood, okay? As a recovering codependent, I suffered the same type of abuse. But here's the difference. I decided to change that. Now, I carry empathy within me. A narcissist doesn't. But I chose to carry that within me, regardless of any type of abuse, because that's me. That's just who I am. A narcissist, however, lacked the identity that they were supposed to have had. And they pretty much got lost somewhere in there. They just got completely lost. And they ended up just internalizing everything that they were given and turning out to be the way they are. Now, again, we have our feelings about it. You have yours, I have mine. We're on the same page when it comes to dealing with people who suffer from NPD or who are narcissists. But at the end of the day, I just want to make that clear that, they suffered the same thing. They just wound up going in the wrong direction when it came to their abuse. And instead of really trying to figure it out and fix it, they just stayed with it. Now, with that being said, why does the narcissist have to hurt you? Well, we all heard the saying, hurt people hurt people. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, well, I've been hurt plenty of times, but I never turned out to be that way. I never turned out to be like the monster that this person or these people turned out to be. Just true. It's logical to say that not everybody who is hurt ends up hurting someone else. But when you have someone who feels completely low, who feels completely self-loathing, that they don't like themselves, and they're in a position to being emotionally vulnerable and they don't know how to process it, they in turn end up becoming that monster. Now, when you're dealing with someone who's narcissistic, who's a narcissist, you're dealing with someone who's emotionally stunted, okay? They were equally traumatized. And whether they want to admit it or not, they were. All right. Parents are supposed to be securely attached to their children and give them unconditional love. That's what we believe. That's what we have been taught. A lot of us have been taught. But when you're dealing with someone who has just been put in a position where they cannot emotionally connect with their own caregivers, with their own parents, they're not going to emotionally connect with people external to them, be it if it's friends, relatives, lovers, what have you. Okay? You're dealing with someone with an emotional detachment. They're not emotionally connected to themselves, let alone they're not going to be emotionally connected to you. You're dealing with someone who has not faced their own demons. Okay? So all they pretty much do is project. They project what they don't like about themselves, especially when they are in the stage of discard. This is why they hurt, and this is why it hurts really, really bad, because you have been so intertwined with them that their projection onto you, it cuts. It does really cut. And it gets you so deep that you actually begin to believe this is how they feel about you. This is what they think of when they think about you. When in reality, this is really what they think about themselves. Now you got to ask yourself, if this is how someone really feels about themselves and they're projecting this onto me, that's really sad. It really is. You know, when you've gone through your healing stages after dealing with a narcissist, and you've gone through the whole, getting through everything, you kind of go from anger and resentment to, in a way, feeling pity, because at the end of the day, you were able to get out of that. You were able to remove yourself from that. But they're still in that position because they haven't gone through the proper, done the inner work and worked on their traumatic healing. So they spend their lives walking around as voids, feeling that way about themselves. Now, the whole discard phase. This is the narcissist being triggered, okay? Their trauma being triggered. Because if you remember in my other videos when I told you that with a narcissistic mother, she'll put her child on a pedestal, and then if the child doesn't do anything for her, she'll automatically just take it back and the child will feel low, So that became a defense mechanism for them. All right. So if the narcissist is triggered in a sense of you're not giving them the supply that they deem fit, then that means I have to try to find my supply elsewhere. If you're not fulfilling them on what they feel is fulfillment, not even what logically is fulfillment, what they feel is, they will go into that defense mechanism mode, okay? Where they'll start to withdraw, they'll start to withhold, they'll start to do all of the things that their parent did to them. Okay? You understand? You could be the greatest boyfriend. You could be the greatest girlfriend in the world. You could be sitting there thinking that you're doing everything right. You can sit there and say, no, it's not a perfect relationship, but we're making it work and we're making it happen and so forth and so on. But if the narcissist feels that you're not fulfilling them on the level or on the scale of what it is that they see as fit, never mind what you feel and what you see, what they see as fit, then they automatically get triggered based on what happened in their childhood. So if they feel that they're not getting their narcissistic supply from you the way they want it, the way they see fit, then they get into that mode. You start to notice certain things. You're trying to figure out what's going on. And in light of, them being, I guess, bored, with, you know, how things are. They are trying to find something exciting. They're trying to find something else that's going to fulfill them the way they want it. They want to be fulfilled. Okay. Now, what triggers the narcissistic rage is the fact that, what do we discuss? Gaslighting, manipulation, lies, deceit, you name it. When you are coming into awareness that you notice these things are happening and you're trying to confront them on it, they get into a rage because, one, you're onto their shit. Two, their ego's already being stroked by new supply and you are interfering with that. Okay, because they feel that they have no use for you anymore. And it sounds really horrible to say like this. And it's, you know, but this is the reality of it. You know, you feel used, you feel hurt, you feel lied to, you feel manipulated, you know, but this is all a form of that fear within them. Narcissists, number one, fear abandonment. Okay. And even if you're not doing things intentionally, even if you're not giving them any kind of reason to believe or think that you will abandon them, the slightest thing can trigger them and they get into defense mode. They're so accustomed to having something and then having it taken away from them that them going into that defense mode is their protective shell. You know, that's just... It does not make sense to you and I because we are totally different from a narcissist, but that's how they project it. Okay. Now, if they're in the midst of grooming their new supply, that's when they do the discard. And the discard is very brutal. It's very hurtful. It's very demeaning and it's outrageous. And they're doing this because they feel they have to do this to you because, again, you're interfering with their self-absorbed, selfish, self-seeking needs, their wants, their desires. They feel they can't get it from you, that they can get it from somewhere else. They are always looking for the next best thing because a narcissist has to have excitement in their life. They have to have consistent attention, consistent admiration, adoration. They have to consistently have that. And God forbid you should fall off in their eyes. You should fall off on that. That's automatically going to push them into that whole, that whole monstrous mode. All right. And it's really sad how that pans out because so many good people, so many kind-hearted people, loyal people, faithful people, trusting people get hurt in the process, but I want to make it very clear to you. Just remember that it has nothing to do with you personally. It's all within them. If you dealt with a narcissist or if you dealt with someone who suffers from NPD or has severe narcissistic traits, I honestly look at it this way. You are paying for the mistakes of their parents. You are paying for the mistakes of their caregivers, the ones who were supposed to instill here and here love, affection, attention, everything that a sensitive, genuine feeling person possesses. You are dealing with someone who was created to be a void. Okay. And unfortunately, it's because their parents or caregivers or whoever raised them was also created to be a void. And because their parents could not emotionally connect with them, they can't with you. And the narcissistic rage is the projection of their trauma. It's the projection of what they felt when they were being psychologically and emotionally abused. So it was not you, it was not your fault. When they go into a rage, they're not even conscious of what it is that they are doing. Okay, because when someone is When someone gets extremely angry, you ever hear what people say, you know, I blacked out and I can't even remember what happened. That's because there's like a detachment up here, and they don't really know how to process. So because they don't know how to process, and that's all they do know is how to get aggressive and angry. And I hope this is making sense for you guys, because it's making a lot for me. They walk around with fear. Okay? Listen, a codependent and a narcissist share the same type of trauma, except one decides to be the people pleaser, one decides to, you know, to do the transactional love. They'll give and give and give and give, and the other is a narcissist. You understand? They walk around with that fear. They have trust issues because their parents already originally let them down. So they won't really trust anyone fully to be completely vulnerable with them, to be completely emotional, especially since they don't even know how or even where to begin to becoming emotional. Even though they will, the whole double standards thing, they'll feel uncomfortable about a certain situation, but they'll go out there and do it themselves. It's all about their ego. Their ego has to be stroked. They have to feel admired. They have to feel wanted. They have to feel desired. And unfortunately, they're programmed by any means necessary, even if it means hurting someone else. Well, I've been hurt. I've had it done to me. So what's it really going to do to somebody else? That's the mentality. That's the mentality. Subconsciously, that's their mentality. And that's why they're so brutal when it comes to the discard phase. That's why they're so, you know, it makes you really want to like do things that I can't really say on this video, but it puts you in that mode because they're projecting it onto you. You're absorbing their energy. You're absorbing all of that lashing, and that even for a split second, you actually have the mind of the same monster that's in front of you. Like you're thinking like them. You're getting angry. You're getting frustrated. Okay? You're to a point where you think about retaliation. You think about revenge. You think about doing all of the horrible things that they did and saying things. Sometimes you go through with it. Sometimes you lash back, and sometimes you end up saying stuff that's even way worse. And that you know, it puts you in a position to becoming someone that not only are you not, but someone that you don't want to be. And that's why it's important to, you know, when that situation happens, it's just important to detach yourself from it, because it can have its really negative effects on you. So basically what it all boils down to is they have to hurt you, because in the whole discard phase, when you are pushing and trying to figure out, and go to my video on the phases of dealing with a narcissist. When you're in that mode that you are just being resilient, you are impeding on their new supply, which is stroking their ego the way they see fit, their excitement, their, you know, their grass is greener on the other side business. You are threatening, in their eyes, you're threatening the chance of them having something more exciting, something new, something that is fulfilling to them, supposedly. And though you are feeding them their supply by giving them all that attention because you're lost and confused and don't know what's going on, simultaneously, in their eyes, you're becoming a pain. You're annoying them. You understand? And the way I see it is this: you are not responsible for their trauma. You're not responsible for the abuse that they've endured. You're not responsible for any of that. You take accountability for anything that you may have contributed within that dynamic. but that's with you, okay? You're not responsible for what it is that they project onto you, because you were not the one who caused any of that. That is on them. That is all on them. They have to take accountability for their own actions. One way or another, they have to. And listen, whether they're a narcissist or not, anybody who decides to discard you because they feel the grass is greener on the other side, or because their ego is getting stroked somewhere else, let them go. Let them go. Why would you want to deal with somebody who did all of that? Why would you want to go back to someone who was belligerent and disrespectful and did all these horrible things to you? Projection or not, why would you want to put yourself through that again? You know, and I'm sorry to say it, but I have to say it like this because you can't warn everybody. Because at the end of the day, even if you try to be a good, kind-hearted person in telling people, listen, you might not want to deal with this person because they're like this and that, you're just going to end up being portrayed as the one who is obsessed and crazy and doesn't know what you're talking about. As much as I would hate to say it this way, let them be someone else's problem. Okay? Look at it as God removing someone that he felt could really do damage to you, really could extreme damage to you, all based on their dynamics with people that should have taken care of that a long time ago. That resentment, that anger, that pain, that trauma, the manipulation, all of that has to do with who they trusted. It has to do with them. It has to do with their parents. It has to do with whoever brought them up. It has nothing to do with you. Okay? And if you were able to get away with it, get away from it, then you were spared. You were given another chance. A chance to heal from it, learn from it, and apply what you've learned in your future relationships. Okay? You could try to help as many people as you possibly can, and you can try to warn as many people as you possibly can. But at the end of the day, it's all a matter of them listening, and it's all a matter of them taking things into account. But your mental health comes first. Your well-being comes first. Okay? And just like you were helped out of it, just have faith that if someone else is going through it, they'll be helped out of it too. And if they choose to stay within that dynamic, and they choose to stay with the abuse, and they choose to be a doormat, and they choose to entertain the narcissist, and that's on them. And if they ever want to get out of that dynamic, there are tons and tons and tons of videos. There are plenty of therapists and plenty of advocates that are waiting for them to come to their senses, learn from it, and move on. Because at the end of the day, a narcissist, the only thing they change are the people that they hurt. That's it. And it's really sad. It truly is. But you guys made it through. That's the important thing. And I'm very proud of you all for that. So guys, I hope this video helped. Okay? I hope it helped someone, anyone. And until next time, namaste.